Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So today, my topic, as you could see there, is LOLALA, assessment in action. Huh? So the first thing that I would like to know is here in this section, how many of you are using a laptop or a desktop computer? If you're using a mobile phone or any mobile device for this session. So if you're using a laptop, could you please type 1? If you're using mobile phone, could you please type 2 for that? Okay, thank you very much. So I could see that many of you are using laptop or computer devices, and there are people who are using mobile phones as well. Okay, now the second question is, are you quite familiar with Pear Deck? Have you ever used Pear Deck before as a student, as a teacher? Y or N, please? Okay. I think that's enough. There are many no's there for that. Still, no worries, no problem for that. So you will use it today. You'll learn how to use that. It's not difficult at all. And then the second thing is that I think you're quite familiar with the breakout rooms. Are you? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, before we start, could you please get these things for the activity? So you need a piece of paper or some pieces of paper, a notebook, or a pen or a pencil. Okay, if you are ready, the next step is to go to Pear Deck website. So I'm sending a message here for the link. Could you please just click on the link? You'll get to the Pear Deck website. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen for a while because I need to go to that Pear Deck. Okay, and I could see 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. Okay, about 20 people are connected. For those who can't, no problem. You can still see the screen that I will share, but you will not be able to type the answer. You will not be able to do the activity, but still okay. You can still follow from the screen. Okay, there are about 40 people there. I think we can start now. The very first question, okay, I have the workshop title, LOLALA. What do you think is the meaning of the word LOLALA? Can you guess what LOLALA stands for? Could you type the answers there? Okay, so far there are 2 responses. Language, okay, you have no idea, no problem. It's a song. It's about education. Learning on, no idea, lots of laughs. This is LOL, but mine is LOLALA. Okay. Lots of laughs. Language of learning, no idea. The sound of music, okay, maybe. Learning of learning by learning. Okay. Assessment. Okay. Do I have more answer? No idea. No idea. So for language assessment, quite close. Song, no idea. Okay. Learning of language, learning language action. It's an error code. Your own creation title, no idea. No teaching. Okay. Learning outcome. Thank you very much. Learning assessment. Thank you very much. Yes. So far, these are the correct answers. Okay, one more LA. So LO, learning outcome, and the first LA, learning something. The second LA is learning assessment. All right, thanks a lot for your answers. For the sake of the time, let me tell you, learning outcomes, learning activities, and learning assessment. That's what it stands for. Okay, so the next question, what do you think you will be studying in this section? We'll be doing together here. What do you think you will learn from this section? Definitely it's about assessment for sure, because we have the word assessment in action. How to make assessment. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go to that far. Okay, types of assessment that meet learning outcomes. Thank you very much, a perfect answer. How do we assess students' language? How to assess the language effectively? Type of assessment, constructive alignment, yes, it's a part of that. And the importance of assessment. Okay, and the list goes on. Yes, so you will be learning more about assessment and how to align this to the learning outcomes. Okay, let me move on now. Now I have a new question here. How often do you assess your students? So we have different options here from A, I do not access them at all, to G, several or many times in a lesson. There are different options there. Okay, some would access at the end of the course. Okay, some say maybe once a month, once in 2 weeks, once in every lesson. And there are many people who are choosing for G, several or many times in a lesson. No one says I don't access them at all, right? Yes, because we teachers need to access. Thank you. Okay, so more of your answers are for G. You assess your students several or many times in a lesson. Wow, that's great. That's great. And now another thing, normally when we hear the word assessment, this is something boring or daunting. It's like a nightmare for us, right? Even teachers are afraid of assessments. Sometimes you might keep dreaming until now, the day you had your matriculation exam, right? In your dream, you might be having exams, right? Okay, now in three words, how would you define the term assessment? Or when you hear the word assessment, what three other words come to your mind? Knowing students' improvement, evaluation, shaping, guiding, frustrating, tired, checking students' understanding, judging, testing, comment, stressful, haunting, but fruitful, okay. Time consuming, definitely. Tiring, but still great. That's great. Okay, check, no, guide, ladder, upgrading. Thank you very much. Ways to improve. You're afraid, it's great. It's an evaluation. CPA, okay. Challenging, guiding, improvement. Knowing the improvement, creative thinking activity. Oh my God, okay. Correction, grading, anxious, knowing the weakness, and so on, right? So the list will not end in this case, but generally, both students and teachers are somehow afraid of assessments, okay? Because people normally see the term assessment frustrating. And people also do not actually understand why they are assessed. This is one condition. Or in Myanmar's context, as CIE Dr. Zotong also mentioned, sometimes we focus too much on the exam-oriented, right? Or teaching to the test is another issue that we have. Okay. And also teachers here. This is a perfect example of our classes here, right? So I've taught Snoopy to whistle, but I can't hear him whistle. I said I taught them. I'm not saying that he learned, right? So we teachers also do teach, but do we also actually check whether our students learn or not, right? This is questionable, all right? And we have a Burmese proverb, right? Playing herb near the buffalo. Sometimes we don't care about the outcomes, right? We do what we are asked to do. Okay, now, one we think of assessment actually, in a learning community, well, we talk about the community-based learning. So we say that learners are very much important, right? Our lessons should be learning-centered, right? In this 21st century especially, all right. And at the same time, the knowledge that we want to convey is also important. We have sets of curriculum to follow, like lessons to complete. So knowledge also should be centered. But the other important feature here is assessment. Also our teaching, if we want students to learn, it should be assessment centered as well. So theorists say that learning best occurs where all these three sectors intersect. So learning is where learners, knowledge, and assessment are combined. So why do we assess? Why assessment? So the purpose of assessment is to progress students' learning. And the most important thing for the assessment, what binds the assessment to the learning is the feedback. Now I have another question. Types or forms of assessment you are familiar with. Could you please type your answers? Formative, summative, great. Research assessment, summative assessments, formative assessment, examination, summative and formative, objective type, maybe diagnostic, formative, summative, great. Peer assessment, AOL and AFL assessment of learning, assessment for learning, yes. Well, great answers. Placement tests, of course, placement assessments are quite similar to diagnostic, but there are some different features as well. Okay, so there are many different types. Content-based assessment, great. Exams, the placement test, portfolio assessment, great. Entry test, achievement test, even interviews, diagnostic tests, all these things are different types of assessment. Even self-assessment, great. All right, so the word assess actually comes from the Latin verb assidere, meaning to sit with. So if we actually do the assessment, we are supposed to be sitting with the learner, right? We're sitting beside the learner to make sure that our learners learn. This is the actual meaning of the word assess. So we need to decide ourselves which stance are we on. So our teachers, the teachers, are we judges who decide you fail, you don't understand, you don't do well, you're good, you can pass. So are we judges or are we advocates who suggest people, okay, if you want to be successful, these are ways that you can do, you give suggestions, it's totally up to you which stand you stands, right? So if you are the decision maker about the students' learning, that's fine if you think so, right? Okay. But the advocate is the one that we aim for probably, right? To be good teachers. Now I need to do an activity for which you need to have a piece of paper and a pencil. answer, would you? I'll give you 30 seconds to be ready. What we will do is, for the first time, I will describe a picture to you. You will just listen to me, follow my instructions. You don't ask me any questions. So the co-host here, the workshop facilitator, will not let you speak, right? You all are muted now. No question from you. Just follow my instruction. Okay, let's start now. Put the paper in a portrait position, not in a landscape position, portrait. At the left corner, draw a circle. At the top middle of the circle, from that point to the right, draw a triangle. All three sides of the triangle is equal. Just above the triangle, draw a smiling face. This smiling face is a little bit bigger than the circle that you drew before. And just above the smiling face, you draw a rectangle. This rectangle is upright. Draw a rectangle that is upright. And now let's get back to the triangle. The other side, the other angle, at the third angle, draw another rectangle, but this time the rectangle is lying down. It's not upright. And at the other corner, the other side of this new rectangle, draw another rectangle which is upright. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 geometrical shapes. Okay, time is up. Is it close enough? Yes or no? You can type Y or N for that. Oh no, there are different options, right? Close enough, exactly the same. No one said exactly the same so far. Quite similar. Some slight differences, quite far, very different. Okay. Wow, we have a few answers. No, erase it. Someone erased that. Okay. So we have very different pictures. We have answers that are quite similar. Well, there are very few people who got exactly the same answer. That's great. That's great. Okay. Now let's move on. This time you will be unmuted, meaning that you can ask questions to me, right? So I know that it's going to be a bit messy. It's going to be chaotic, but I try to answer to your questions. Okay. This time we'll draw another picture. Okay. Now I will describe another picture to you, a new picture, but you will not just listen to me this time. You can ask questions, as many as you want. Your questions are welcome. right? So it will be a bit chaotic. Are they unmuted now?
Yes, yeah, I'm trying now. Okay, they can now. They can do now. They can unmute by themselves now.
Okay, can you say something, the audience, dear teachers? If
Hello.
Yes, we heard. We hear.
Hello. Hello, Tia.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
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 Can hear, teacher. We can hear you.
So yeah, you
Hello.
You are muted here.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. Now what will I do? I will describe a new picture to you. I will describe a picture to you. You listen to me, and then if you are not clear, you ask me questions, all right? Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. Again, your paper is in portrait, not landscape, portrait. Okay, portrait.
Perfect. Yeah.
At the top corner, you draw a circle.
At the top corner, ma.
Yeah, to the right corner or left
right corner
corner.
or left corner.
Thank you very much. It's in the left corner. Okay. At the top left corner, you draw a circle.
Okay.
And just below the circle, you draw an upright rectangle.
Upright rectangle. Upright rectangle.
Yeah, long or short rectangle.
It's like 2 times longer than the diameter of the circle. I mean, approximately, right?
Yeah, big rectangle or a small rectangle. Yeah.
It's quite thin.
Yeah.
It's not a thick one. It's quite thin,
Yes.
and long.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then somewhere, I mean, to the right of that rectangle, you will draw a smiling face. This smiling face is a little bit bigger than the circle. It's in the middle. Okay. From the middle, you draw a smiling face where the rectangle and the smiling face touch each other.
Rectangle.
Any question?
How many times bigger than the former circle?
It's say 1.5 times bigger. It's not that too big. It's not even 2 times. Okay, slightly bigger.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay. And on the other side of that smiling face, you draw one more rectangle, which is identical to the one that you have drawn before. Same shape. So these 2 rectangles will be parallel to each other. They are of the same shape, same size.
Identical.
Identical. Yes.
Yeah.
Same shape, same size. The other side of the smiling face. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the
Yes, Chair.
bottom, from the bottom right corner, you draw a 3-sided triangle where 3 sides are equal. So the top of the triangle is touching to the bottom right corner of the second rectangle.
Yeah, can you repeat again, please?
We will draw a triangle. This triangle, all 3 sides are equal. Okay. The top of the triangle is touching to the second rectangle's right bottom tip.
Excuse me, triangle is big or small?
The triangle is somewhat, I mean, it should be somewhat similar. I mean, they should be the same size as the smiling face, let's say. The diagram of the smiling face, diameter of the smiling face. Okay, shall I continue?
Yes.
Now the last one, this time on the bottom left corner of the triangle, level to the bottom of the triangle, you draw one more rectangle, but it's not upright, it's lying. The same size, the same size of the other rectangles that you have drawn. Okay, it is level to the bottom of the triangle. Okay, I think you're done now. You still have any question?
No.
Okay, you can mute them if you want. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Now let's compare here. Is it close enough? Okay, yes. Quite similar, small differences. Yes, slight differences. Okay. Oh, we have a very different answer as well. For those who said very different, I'm wondering if you ask me any question. Okay, so we have more answers for exactly the same, right? Yes, and most of you, it becomes quite similar now. Okay, the question is, why do I do that? This, I think, is one perfect example of the importance of formative assessment, right? So formative assessment is taken while students are learning. It's in the middle of the learning process. You check students, you check whether they understand you or not, and then you change your instruction accordingly, right? Your instruction is modified by the students' feedback. Okay, so whenever there is a two-way communication, when students are able to ask you questions or when you are able to check them, you can perform better assessments. All right, so the role of assessment here, LOLALA, the learning outcomes and the learning activities or what is taught and learned in the classroom. And then after the learning assessment, the three need to be clearly aligned. If one of them is not aligned with the other two, I mean, your lesson is skewed. You do not have a perfect learning environment. That's what happens in our assessment system. CIE Dr. Zotong also mentioned that recently, right? I mean, people teach higher order thinking skills, but the assessment is only for the merely knowing. So the learning will not be effective in this case. Now, all right, so we have formative and summative assessments. Not only that, in these days, there is one more important term there, assessment as learning. In fact, we have to see that assessment itself is the learning opportunity, right? I mean, this should be something that drives students, that motivates students, if we can make use of it effectively. All right, so traditionally, we see assessment of learning more. These are the things that we do at the end of a lesson, at the end of a course, at the end of something to decide you fail, you pass, you're doing good, no, you don't perform well, right? Traditionally, we favor more, we emphasize more on assessment of learning or summative assessment. But in reality, we should see that in a different way. Assessment itself is a learning opportunity. students should take charge of their learning, right? We want students to learn themselves, right? We say that we teachers in this 21st century are not the manager in the classroom anymore. We are learning facilitators. We provide students with learning opportunities. We make them learn. We help them. We say that. So in this case, assessment also is a part of this learning opportunity there, right? But this does not happen in our class system if our referencing system, if our assessment system is based on non-referenced, not on criterion referenced. So in a non-reference classroom, what happens is that we compare one student with the rest of the student. Well, your child got the first place, he performed quite well, like he's the first, but your child is like, just an average student, right? His rank is somewhere in the middle. So if we emphasize on this norm reference, it may not be that successful, but on the other hand, if our assessment is criterion based, saying that these are the standards, whoever reaches to that standard passes the exam, for instance. Or think about like IELTS exam, right? I mean, you have different targets from band 9, 8.5 up to, 432, whatever. Okay, so there are different references that you can refer to. So if you're using that kind of criterion reference in the classroom, assessment as learning becomes better, because we are not competing each other, but we are doing to meet the standards. Okay, now we have very much traditional paper and pencil tests, but this is only one of the means of assessment. There are many different ways to assess our students. So one of them that we'll be discussing today is this CAT, or the classroom assessment techniques. So teachers, you might have heard of the word TTT. TTT approach, test, teach, and test. We use TTT in two conditions, right? The first one is the one mentioned here, test, teach, and test. The second one is time. All right, okay. Anyway, what we are referring here is test, teach, and test. The three are always like interrelated to each other. Oops. I made this, okay. So one thing that we can do is through performance-based assessments. All right. To check performance of students. Okay, why do we want to check the performance of students? Well, we say that our learning activity, learning outcome, and learning assessment should align each other well. Okay, so this is the thing that we always refer to, Bloom's taxonomy, the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So we have, if our assessment is focusing only on remembering of facts, no matter what you teach in the classroom, if you want your students to be able to create something, you teach that in the classroom. But if the assessment is not there, then students are not motivated, because simply they will ask you, teacher, is it a part of the exam? Is it going to be assessed? If it is not going to be assessed, I don't want to do that. I mean, we have this problem, right? So because of that, if we want students to create something, if we want students to evaluate something, our assessment is also up to the level, the same level. So this can be done through performance assessments. Can you see the slide clearly? Are you able to read there? Okay, hope so. Okay, so this, I would say, is filling in the blank session here. So you are asked to complete the 5 sentences below with the correct personal pronouns or possessive adjectives. So personal pronouns or possessive adjectives like he, she, we, they, it, blah, blah, blah. Using these, you will fill in the blank over there. Okay, this is a typical assessment that occurs in 1990s, 2000. So it was in the last millennium, last century, last decade, right? Which is not in the 21st century. Yes, when we were young, when we were students, we had such types of tests. But in this 21st century, no, let's change it. How can we do that? You can ask students to do an oral performance here. So the task, you give students 5 minutes to prepare a brief presentation about the topic myself, where they need to prepare their full name and how it is spelled, their age, their phone number, and their family, where they are from, this and that. So think about it. If students prepare a presentation and present it to you, they will definitely be using those personal pronouns and possessive adjectives. My name is blah, blah, blah. I am 19 years old. My phone number is this. All these personal pronouns are taught. All these personal pronouns will be used, but in a performance style, right? Not only fill in the blank. There are many people who can fill in the blank, but who can't actually say that in front of the people, right? So their comprehension, their understanding, and their ability to write down the answer is good, but they are not able to produce it. Their speaking skill is not up to the level. Why? Simply because we are assessing only this way. But if we change our assessment into this new performance assessment style, then somehow they will be producing something. Their production could be seen there. Okay, now another example here. Again, a multiple choice listening task where students need to listen to and check the correct information. Just choose A, B, C, whatever. All right, so this also could be transformed into a better type of assessment. Again, listening task. But this time, there will be some more open-ended questions along with this multiple choice. Okay, now another example. Complete the dialogue, write the question. Yes, I do. I play volleyball. This is the answer. So to make a question for this answer, your question will be, do you do sports? Or do you play football? Do you play volleyball? Yes, I do. I play volleyball. And the second question, I play volleyball well. The question could be something like, how well can you play? How well do you play for volleyball, maybe, right? So forming the question based on the statement. Things that we did when we were young, right? But this could be changed and into an interview, for instance. You are going to ask a sportsman. You need to prepare some questions that you want to ask, right? So same skill will be asked, same skill will be assessed, making questions, but with a performance, with a real practice and production. Now we have like maybe 5 minutes each for this group walk, hopefully, right? All right, now your turn, the group walk. You are divided into groups, and then you will be going to the breakout rooms. Okay, so in the breakout room, what you will do is that you will be given the traditional, very traditional form of assessment, but in group, try to think of ways that you can transform it into a performance-based assessment. It is something like these examples that we have done before. Okay, so in your group, in 5 minutes, you check the traditional assessment given to you and try to transform it into a performance-based assessment. So are we ready for that? Can we divide them into breakout rooms?
Yes, yeah, I'm ready. So can I open now?
Yes, please.
Okay, you all can go to breakout rooms now.
By the way, everyone, can you see, teachers, can you see the share screen?
Yes.
Yes. That is our group we have to do.
Okay, where we need to write down the answer.
I think teacher said we have to transform the question format.
Performance.
Yes.
Question form. Change
Yeah,
question
we have to
form.
change the question form. Yeah.
No, we need to fall on the performance to write this question. I think so.
I think traditional people to new performance based.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Need to transform. So this is a traditional text item.
I think so. We need to
change
a new
performance.
And new activities.
Okay, so you're doing well. Please go ahead. Let me go to the other room then.
Yes.
Look at the example.
Yes, the question type.
Well, we need to make a question formats for our students
in my opinion, a writing paragraph.
No.
Including past tense.
Our students don't need to write.
For me, I think this format is focused on past tense. So we have to take another performance test instead of asking like that way, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
How to complete the sentence and X and change a new performance like this.
So how about writing the story?
Firstly, we need to make a question to our student. For example, last week, what did you go?
Yes.
Last week, and the answers, they went to somewhere, and we continue to our questions.
For the first stage, before asking this question, we need to ask your questions first, and after that, we will show this checklist to the students, and the next step we will give an assignment to like your holiday trip or like this something. So that is for this format we had the three part. Before this slide we ask some question about by using simple past tense. After that we will give them this slide to give an answer. And the next text we will give an assignment or homework like this. Write down a trip that you went in your holiday like this. So that's just only an example for me. Okay, how do you think?
I think what we will ask the students to do the activities, group-based activity. For example, one student asks the questions and one student answers their holiday activities. I think so.
activities so I mean that we have the 3 stages for the first stages or second stages or third stages. Which stage do you want to use these activities? Your activities.
That stages. The third stages we ask the students to do the activities. Firstly, we show how to do the activities, and that means they practice, and finally they do their stuff.
Okay, so for this activity, we need to do for the paper slide, so for the answers a question and ask a question, and they were like they need to start their partner with the questions and answer. So yes. So that maybe practice for the speaking. So
yeah,
okay, that's all.
Yes.
So our group finished for our text. Okay, when Sia asked about the text, who will explain for this text?
Sure.
Explain that. Okay, that. Okay.
Shall you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we need to. Why doing this text and after doing this text? Okay. Okay, others participant, could you please give an example for other suggestion? It's okay.
Yes, to present our group, and we were plan about speaking. Skill is speaking, and level is a beginner or an beginner. Yes, skill is speaking, and level is beginner, and text is
now
yes.
we need to write down about the learning outcomes.
Yes.
Learning outcomes. Yes.
So how about, can I stop sharing the script? So I think it's gonna be okay, right? Hello?
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
So
by the way, what the teacher say? Do we have to write something on the whiteboard? No.
Yes, we need to write down as.
So yeah, in here we have share screen, right? You can, I think. Can you share the screen? No. Oh, okay. I can only share, I think. So now you can write down on the whiteboard.
Yes.
What you plan? Yeah.
Yes. For the first one, skill is speaking.
Yes. So who will type?
Yes. You can only type.
Or you can do.
We can type.
So how about now? How about now?
Yes.
I think you can type now.
No.
No, really?
You share the screen. Yes, you share the screen, so you can
type. You can only type.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So how should I type first?
So yes, first one is how about oral performance?
Oral performance. So let's type.
Yes. The title is oral performance.
Oral performance.
Yes. So and then skill is speaking.
Yeah.
Yes. So level is
beginner.
Level. Yes, level. Beginner. This is for beginner. Yes. So text.
TSK test.
TASK text.
TASK.
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 So how long? How long will you give to the student? About 5 minutes or?
I think 5 minutes is enough.
Yes.
Do.
For the whole text. For the whole text.
Yes.
Yes.
So
it's 5 questions.
Says yes. Just only 5 questions, I think.
Yes. So 5 minutes.
Yes.
5-minute question. How should I type?
5 minutes to prepare. A brief. Brief.
BRIE.
BRIE.
Oh, sorry.
Brief. Presentation. Presentation about a holiday.
5 minutes.
Yes. So, how about peer individual? Group or peer?
What kind of?
I think role play.
Yes, role play.
Kind of assessment. So, how should I
Yes.
type? Assessment type.
Assessment.
Teachers is calling us now. Yes. Because it's 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Submitted assessment.
Yeah. I cannot write that now.
Time's up.
Yes, the time is up, so we have to leave now, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Okay, see you in the main session.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought of message. So you can go back to the main session, leave room and leave
scenario. I heard that from your group discussions. It was great. We can simply turn it into a new performance. The second one, taking only the past tenses instead of making this. I mean, you ask students to tell their past experience, a birthday that they celebrated recently, for instance. The third one, to create a scenario, you discussed that there, to like a weather focused using those words. Your groups discussed that. Thank you very much. A great one. The second one, the fourth one, which is quite difficult for me, is choosing a different sound. So definitely there should be some speaking or saying the words out loud so that they can differentiate, or you can check whether they can pronounce those correctly or not, right? The fifth one good idea from a teacher who taught younger grades, like if I were a Superman, if I were a Spider-Man, students would present something. Or for the elder grades, for the higher grades, if I got a new job. I mean, they were discussing that. Good. Now, the traditional assessment, there were short tests, but now this can be continuous form. And our traditional assessment used to be too much textbook based, but now classroom performance tests we can use. We use more real world authentic assessments, which is contextualized, and you can give feedback to the learners in all learning skills, not only for their remembering and writing skills, right? All 4 skills could be checked. Scoring, quite difficult. So, and then you can give positive feedback. How do we normally do the scoring? By using rubrics or checklist, right? We use standard rubrics, things like that. Okay, you're excellent in this criteria, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so for this, we use peer assessment, assessing each other, or assessing our own as self-assessment. These could be a part of that. Okay, as we do not have enough time, I need to conclude that. So we shouldn't be too much stuck only on the normal traditional paper and pencil based assessment. We are actually supposed to use various forms of assessment techniques in our classroom so that we can evaluate our students differently. They are all their different intelligences. We know their strengths and weaknesses in all aspects better, right? So happy teaching, happy testing, teachers. End my session here. If you have, some burning questions that you want to ask me, you can, or 1 or 2 questions only. Otherwise, we'll stop here. We're 10 minutes behind the schedule.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Okay, my email address, kyawmoea@gmail.com. Kyaw Moe Aung. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Hope to see you somewhere. Not virtually, but face to face. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate. Thanks
Thank you,
for
sir.
about the assessment. Now we know about the detail how to do an assessment, and then I like to know what kinds of software, digital tools to use this. I have seen about the peer decks, right, sir?
Yes. I have used a pear deck here. Yes. You can add this on your Google Slides. So it works better with Google Slides, right? Use a Google Slide and you can find the add-on for that.
Hello, Sia. Hello.
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 Yes.
Sia,
Yes.
can
Yama.
I see the slide about the transition from the traditional based assessments to performance-based assessment? I missed the slide, Sia. I missed the slide. Sorry, Sia. So can I see?
Sure. This is from the article called Paradigm Shift in Assessment.
Sia, not this one. The transition from the traditional based assessment to performance-based assessment.
You mean this?
No, not this one, yeah. The transition between the transition from the traditional assessment to the performance-based assessment.
You don't mean this, do you?
No, yeah. Near the end of your presentation.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. This one.
Okay, this one's, yeah. Can I take a photo, please?
Sure, please. This is from an article, actually. The name of the article is also there. A paradigm shift from paper and pencil test to performance-based assessment. Okay.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I got it.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot. Okay.
And people not being
Okay, so I will stop sharing my screen and then shall I leave the meeting or what? Yes.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Thank you, Sia.
Yes, Sia, you
Okay,
can.
my pleasure. I can leave now, right?
Yes, Sia. Thank you.
Yes, teacher. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sia.
Thank you, Sia.
Thank you, Sia.
Bye-bye. See you somewhere.
Yasna is very brave. she accepted to understand it. It's not an easy job. I know. So
let me end the meeting. Okay.
Oh,
Fine,
we don't need to
teachers.
pay the Google phone on for the participation for attendance.
Actually,
Attendance.
they were sent an email, right, teacher? We.
Of course, they will send.
Yes.
So we will need
Most of the
attention.
mail had already gone to the junk file, so we missed for the first day session. So we need to check for
Oh,
the
really?
junk file. Yes. So please remind the other teachers, please check